I mentioned in the last episode that at some point I wanted to sit down and redesign a little bit more of the Nerdrosoft HQ, and you might be able to tell that I've been a little bit busy, especially with this new lobby that I absolutely adore. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Software Inc., of course. I've just got done streaming this over on twitch.tv/ConflictNerd, and I'm saying that not to plug the Twitch channel so much as to thank everybody that tuned in, because there were some amazing ideas that came in for how we can design the HQ, one of which was from a chatter called Chrissy, who suggested we do this. We put the logo on the floor. I don't know why I've never thought of doing this before. I really don't. It's such a genius move and it looks fantastic. I used the triangular carpet pieces so I could do some shading as well, and I love this. I'm so pleased with it. Elsewhere, I've just replaced all of the desks and all of the room dividers. I've replaced a bunch of the lights as well. And I also decided to redesign the meeting rooms to be a little bit more corporate, because I like the idea that the new CEO has come in and made some sweeping changes. Some of them good, such as the design in the lobby and the new designs in the team leader offices, and some of them less good, such as the meeting room being very cold and clinical. I've also put some awards back in here, such as the first time we ever got employer of the year, and also some of our platinum stuff is in here as well, which is great. So I've just decided to spruce things up a little bit, make it a bit more interesting, and that's kind of where we're at. I've also hired some cleaners specifically to manage the lobby and the surrounding corridors, because it really bothers me that it gets so filthy. And then finally, I discovered a little something that I think is really, really cool. Oh, by the way, we're almost at $1 billion. It turns out that we have had more sales in October 2025 than ever before. We turned over 77.1 million in sales. Now, that's not necessarily the same as our income. Let's keep that in mind. It's absolutely not the same thing. We do have expenses. So, 42 million there with a few million here and there in expenses. It's it's a lot. We're doing a lot of things right now, which is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. Now, the interesting thing that I found out was that you can group your projects over here on the right side. This might be something a lot of you know already. I've never looked at this and never bothered to look at this, but I mean, I can also filter based on selected teams, which is kind of cool. So you can select a team and then filter, I guess. Yeah, so you can see what the whatever this team's doing. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is want to look at the grouping, because you can filter by type, and you can now see, hey, this is all of my marketing tasks, this is all of my porting tasks, my project management, my support tasks, or you can filter by project, and now I can see everything that's going on for absolutely everything. I can see the Astrophone is being supported, Doors has marketing and support going on, we've got Hellshock, which has supporting going on, Kingdom Guardians has marketing and support going on as well. And then I can sort of expand these, I can update, I can do all this stuff, I can change the priorities if I really want to. I can just click and drag to do that, which is really, really cool. I didn't know I could do this, I'm going to be honest with you. I really, really didn't know I could do this. The only downside to this that I see is that I can't immediately look at how much money something like Saturn controllers pulling in, but that is a really cool way to group things. That is a really, really cool way to group things there. I love that that's actually a thing now. I also love that we can see just all of the project management stuff. It just seems a little bit more compact, which is really, really nice. It's a really cool thing. I don't know if I want to use it necessarily. It's definitely a whole thing. It's definitely going to take me some time to get used to that. So I think I'm going to stick with the normal grouping for now. And the next time we play Software Inc., the next time I play Software Inc., it might not be for a series, but the next time I play Software Inc., I'm going to start using the grouping and learn how all of that works. Anyway, with all that out of the way, we are in a really good place with this company. We are in a really, really good place with the company. Saturn is turning over a lot of money. Saturn Controller is turning over money. Kingdom Guardians is turning over a lot of money. We are absolutely, undeniably in a fantastic place with this company. Now, I will say, I don't think the Saturn controller is going to end up making a profit, but the fact that Guardians is turning over money there, Longsword 13 is actually doing more money than Longsword 14, which is kind of wild, but that's probably a porting problem rather than a quality problem. long story short, we're doing good. And so I think it might be time to start looking towards the future of the company. I think we want to start looking at maybe automating the phones a little bit. So we'll go to project management and we're going to say, we'll just say the phone team. Well, we can't say phone team. I guess what was it? Astro phone is what we called it. And I think this is just sort of how we're going to do it. So we want to look for the phone team. We'll go for Muriel Tate, and then we want to go to here, and we want to have our phone teams working on this project. Essentially, I'm going to start automating the process of creating the Astrophone, because that's kind of the simplest way to do things. I'm not really too worried about staying on top of that myself. The consoles are sort of going to be my thing. We also want to get the support teams working on this, and I think we do just have the 2 support teams, so you guys are going to be doing this right here. The marketing team, so pre-marketing team, is going to be the projects team. We might have too much going on with these guys, but we'll give it a shot. They have 25 tasks. Wow. Yeah, they might be a little bit overwhelmed. That they might be a little bit overwhelmed there, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll get the porting and updating team working on this as well. The source control is going to be the development server. Prototype software is going to be the Astrophone. And then we want to look at the production server is the production server. Development time, 150%. Iteration cooldown is alpha stage iterations. I'm going to say never, as per usual. Have them update it, update the tech levels. Update cycle is going to be every... let's do 4 months, and let's update the phone for 2 years. We're going to hype it, auto-develop, only sequels, use our frameworks, single IP, use own licenses, post-marketing, handle support, and then physical copies, print job copies. We are going to look at printing 250,000 Astrophones, and we'll hit OK on that. And that should mean that sooner or later, we should see these guys get to work on churning out a new Astrophone. Astrophone 2 should end up being a thing, which is good. That's what we want. We want them to work on that, and we want them to make it amazing and as good as it can possibly be. And we'll see how that goes. What do you mean the condition of my waiting room? What's wrong with my waiting room? There's nothing. There's nothing wrong with this. You know what? Get out of here. If you don't want to strike a deal with my company, you're not going to strike a deal with the company. Let's get some hosting going on here just to make sure that money keeps coming in. And I guess we could start looking at maybe putting out another update for Saturn just to make sure it's okay. It's the 3D can come up to date a little bit there. We'll have the console teams work on it. There's a lot of bugs to fix as well, so we'll get that update going. Canvas 9, are we printing you 125,000 copies just to be sure that we are? We are doing pretty good money there. Do we want to port it to anything? Let's have a little bit of a look. There's 1 or 2 things we can port it to. We've got Opti 3 right there. We'll get that going. And then Hellshock 4. Do we have anything to port it to? Not really. I'm not going below 250,000 users. I think we can get away with that at the minute. I think we're doing okay on that front. Same with Kingdom Guardians, and I guess that's all right. Now, we could look at putting out a new joystick for Saturn, but honestly, I don't think we want to. The Saturn controller is really not doing all that much money anyway, so I think we'll sort of just leave it be, and we'll be all right in that front. And I think I'm just going to manually go in and start working on a sequel to Saturn. And I think Saturn 2 is a fantastic name. I think Saturn was a really, really good choice for the console. And I suppose we could use Nerdrosoft operating system console, NOSC, which is great. And that's maybe a little bit outdated, so it might hold us back ever so slightly in a few places, but we'll figure that out. I think we want to throw multitasking in there as sort of a new thing. Super optimization. Now, this might make us make more money now that I think about it. Spend time when developing software to save money when ordering hardware. Remove extra cost when ordering product prints. No, that's just ordering it. That's not printing it myself. So I think we'll maybe skip that. Microphone surveillance. Listen in on your user's conversation to find and fix bugs before they're reported at the risk of getting caught. I don't think we want to do that. I don't know if we want an app store. We'll do custom themes. I think that's the way to go. I think we'll just update it, make it sort of fancy and new and nice, and that'll be great. It can be $235, which I think is cheaper than the original one. Servers are totally fine. And the design is... It could be the same. It could absolutely be the same as the first one. I think what we'll do is go for a white console this time. Just to be a little bit... Just to change it up. And then the blue in here... I mean, reasonably, I would like it to be Nerdrosoft blue. Or like a different shade of blue, perhaps. Maybe go a little bit darker on it. Maybe a little bit more saturated on this one. I'm sort of okay with that. That looks kind of interesting. I don't really want to spend too much time changing up the entire design. So I think what we'll do is I'm just going to copy the shade of blue. We'll hit OK on that. That's the new one. The new console is going to be white and blue. We'll go to the next page. Saturn Controller 2 is absolutely going to be a thing. We can do big battery, which is already in there. We'll do RGB lighting, I guess. Built-in speakers. We don't really need anything else there, to be quite honest. I guess we could do RGB lighting. And just because we'll add maybe, I don't know, 3 light strips. That'll make people happy. It's a lot of that's a lot of wasted interest, to be quite honest with you, but that's fine. And we failed the fire inspection. That actually I'm not surprised by, because I did have to redo a lot of the space, so that's fine. That's completely okay. Let me get this guy to also be a just white controller with sort of blue. Actually, you know what? Let's just go for a white controller on this. We'll go for that Xbox 360 look, and then tertiary is under here. So that's where we get the blue. And I think that's all right. We could change up the style to get a bit more blue on here if I really wanted to. Which I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I think we just go with the blue underneath though. Actually, you know what? We will go for that. That'll be fine. And can I indent this any further? So back middle, we'll make that a bit thicker. Bring the indentation down ever so slightly. And the triggers are fine. I don't think I can actually pull that part in, which is totally fine by me. So that's going to be the new controller. Saturn Controller 2. We'll make it $90. We'll develop that as well. And I guess at this point, auto balance, analyze the market, apply that, which is great. We'll go to the next page, and this is going to be the console team working on it. Did you do the first one? You did do the first one. It was outstanding. It was inspiring. Okay. I mean, your creativity is not amazing right now, but you did amazing with the first one. So you know what? Go ahead and develop it. We'll start working on Saturn 2, and that'll be fine. What rooms failed the fire inspection? It was the meeting rooms. Of course it was. Okay. Well, I knew I forgot something when I was building these. So that's totally fine. We'll do an alarm there, and we'll do an alarm right there. And that is us all sorted, which is great. So let's turn off the overlay. And I guess, wait, have I got the overlay still on? Turn that off. There we go. Go out of build mode. And we're fine. Let me just call the fire inspector back, just to make them a little bit happier. Now, something that is very exciting is that we are back above $1 billion, which is wild considering that we have 2 subsidiaries. That's pretty cool. And honestly, well, I thought these guys were doing better than they are. Regardless, my subsidiaries are still doing okay, which is nice to see. We've still got some releases coming up for these guys this year. They have an expansion pack going out, and then they have nothing for 3 years, which is a bit of a worry. Not gonna lie. I don't know if they're gonna have the money to last 3 years without putting anything out, because I'm not gonna be bankrolling them all that much longer. And then these guys are only doing Vector Premium 4, which I knew they would come back to. Definitely knew they'd come back to. But I'm a little concerned that they're only doing Vector Premium 4 and it's 3 years out. So they might not have the money to last either. And I'm kind of not interested in bailing out my subsidiaries. Nerdrosoft itself, the main company, is doing just fine. So I'm kind of willing to let the subsidiaries just, you know, chill, basically. Also, design on the Saturn controller and also Saturn 2 itself, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I love how quickly these guys can develop stuff now. The team leader for the FPS games team, Day Shift, has retired after 16 years. which means that the next Hellshock 5 doesn't have a project lead anymore. So let's get ourselves, I guess, someone that can handle that. We don't really need multitasking. We do need automation. And we're going to be putting you on the FPS Games Day team. We'll begin looking. We've got great compatibility. We've got some pretty good stats. So Bruno Jackson, let me hire you to the team. And let me get the FPS Games team a new team leader. So where are you, Bruno? There you are. We'll change your roles over to be leader. You can do design and programming. So you can do both of those as secondary. And that'll keep us good. Hopefully Bruno is going to be good at this because, yeah, you're taking over Hellshock, bud. Which, I mean, all things considered, the last one has done, well, 51 million in 12 months. So no pressure, but Hellshock 5 better be good. Because if it isn't, you're going to be getting fired just as quickly as you got hired, mate. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Now, here's an interesting little detail that I completely forgot about. If we want to make the Saturn Controller 2, we need to get some LED printers as well. Now, this is the production line for it. I just don't know exactly where the LED printers need to go. So they need to go in with the plastic, the rumble unit, into the case assemblers. Now, the case assemblers, that's a component printer. That is the assembler for the case. So basically here is what we need to be doing. So if I go in here and I copy you, and I go in here, I'm going to pause while I do this so I don't mess things up. And we put that right there. If I change this guy over to be LEDs, staff is unable to reach the fluorescent lamp. Okay, well, we can just delete the lamp, to be quite honest with you. But that should now mean that I can set this guy to be manufactured, which is absolutely fantastic. So that should be going. We can print copies of this on assembly line 0, and we'll say a maximum of 150,000 copies of the Saturn Controller 2. And away it goes. It'll start getting made, which is great. So that'll start heading out, which is fine. I'll tell you what, let's just start bug fixing the controller as well. Saturn 2 is not going to be that far behind, but you know, we'll bug fix it while we're here. What are they complaining about? An employee has called we're being robbed? Oh, I guess my security's a little bit spread out right now. Burglars were apprehended. We recovered 8 of 9. Oh, we're being properly robbed now. Okay. Yeah, so I think the reason we're being properly robbed is that my security is weirdly spread out. We have security guarding. So this is a new park that I built. We have security guarding park entrances and exits. So let me have a look at my staff and let me have a look at my security, because we have an HQ lobby room group now. That's for the cleaners. But if I go to security and I say that maybe I want maybe 2 of you at a time to be assigned to the lobby, that might be a good idea. That way we should always have people in here watching, hopefully, these doors. I don't know if security can actually do that, but that's sort of the idea, is that they might be able to just sort of stand in here and chill and actually watch things. I did have someone at the door there. Oh, we got awards again. Okay, best employer is naturally me, which is fantastic. Best product was me with Canvas 9, and most profitable product was me with the Longsword 14. Okay. We seem to be doing all right. Other teams occupying offices right now. That's interesting. Have I messed up some scheduling there? So these guys shouldn't have any overlap. I'm not really too sure what's going on there. So I think it's just the game being the game. Let's see. Tired and can't work. That's these guys. They'll be fine. They can go home. They'll be all right. I will say though, I do think maybe I might swap out these reception desks with security desks. As silly as that might be, and as it's not going to look good though if I do that. It's not going to be a good look. That's my problem. My thinking is that I do need to get some security guys in here. I absolutely need to get some security guys in here. I just don't want it to look terrible. And it's going to look terrible. That's the problem, is it's going to look terrible. What if I... let me try something here. If I get rid of you and I go into build mode and I just sort of shove that wall back, right? Can I do that? Apparently not. Okay. What if I make that a room? Can I merge these rooms? Is that an option? No. It's not accessible. I know it's not accessible. I don't know why I can't merge them. It might be because of how the atrium works. And if that's the case, can I not maybe do the same thing up here? Can I not merge these guys into a whole thing? Can I merge you? No. Can I merge these guys into a whole thing? Because if I could do this, that would be great. I just don't think it's going to let me, which is really unfortunate. You know, now that I think about it, there might be one thing I can do, which is get rid of that path for just a second and then come in here and do something like this. And then if I go and say, I want these materials, I want these to all be the same. So that's fine. I want the little siding to be the same. So you to there, and that'll be all right. What I can do is I can change the floor material to be the path that I want around the building. I am going to have to go and redo the path around the building. But my thinking is that if I've done this properly, I'm pretty sure I can assign that little path space as a room. And if I have that path assigned as a room, then maybe I can set security to stand at that door all the time. Not 100% sure if that's going to work, but we're going to find out is what we're going to do. So let's get these guys changed over to be the proper stones like that. It is not seamless currently, which is fine. We are going to make it seamless by doing this. And then if I just click on you and I set you to room group HQ lobby, yeah, now we've got security kind of chilling out here, which is what we're looking for. I don't know if that's necessarily going to be enough, but it's a cool spot for security to be standing rather than right by the door. So I'm sort of okay with that. And I'm actually wondering, does that mean security is maybe standing at other doors throughout the building as well? They might be. Security might just be stood in weird places, to be quite honest, but that's all right. Ooh, the Opti franchise has been bought out. That's very surprising. That was quite a big IP, wasn't it? Interesting. Okay, well, not sure how to feel about it, but I'm sure it's fine. Saturn controller, by the looks of it, isn't making money anymore. Let's stop marketing you. Kingdom Guardians is still doing a lot. Doors 2 isn't really doing much, and Saturn is doing just fine. I guess we should start working on Doors 3, huh? We have got a lot of active users with Doors. We have got some money. Does it need an update? It probably could. Let's do an update to it. We'll fix all the bugs, and then we'll start working on the new one. And I actually have a bit of an idea for, not the console team, I want the core team working on this. I have a bit of an idea for Doors going forward, and this is going to play nicely into the Nerdrosoft lore that it's a very different company now. What I'm thinking we do is we make Doors 3 a piece of software that is subscription based, which obviously people aren't going to love, but I want to play around a little bit with subscriptions and see if we can make some good money off of them, because the idea is that you will lose money up front because the barrier to entry, the price to get into it is much lower. But then if you have people just paying you money for that software month after month after month, then in theory, and if they're doing that for years down the line, I mean, you know, Doors 2, for example, is 3 years old. It still has 300,000 active users. If we make that $10 a month, $15 a month, $25 a month, and there's still 300,000 active users, that's going to be pretty good for the company. So Vector 10 has gone out the door. It is outstanding. It's inspiring. It did 8.5 million last month, which is absolutely amazing. I really do think we've hit the point where the game is just sort of infinitely successful in terms of things that Nerdrosoft does. I'm okay with that, to be completely honest, though. So, you know, not the end of the world that we're making ridiculous amounts of money every single month. It means I can experiment a little bit, and it also means that reasonably, I could, if I wanted to, go and put more money into my subsidiaries. I could, if I wanted to, go and take over other companies. These guys are, you know, 50% of the company is listed, so I could just go and buy them out. In fact, there's a whole bunch of companies that I could go and buy out. They've all got over 50% of the company listed. I don't necessarily want to do that. I don't necessarily want to, yeah, I don't want too many companies. I wouldn't be against getting rid of a lot of companies, but I also like having $1.1 billion, so I don't want to say it'd be wasteful to go and buy out other companies, because I've done many wasteful things thus far, but I want to say it would be wasteful. I'll tell you what's not wasteful, though. We should start working on a new King Doom game. It's been over a year since Guardians went out. It has done 100 million in profit. It is up there as relatively profitable. It would need to make... It's actually on track to make more money than King Doom 6. I've just noticed that. It still did 7.8 million last month. Still has 1.2 million active users. I've just... Hellshock 4 just did 14.8 million. Good lord. Okay. That's actually kind of surprising. Let me look at porting that. There are plenty of things that it can go to, so let's get that moving to a few new platforms. Kingdom Guardians, same story. Let's make sure you are on a few new platforms. And let me look at my releases and make sure, you know what? Let's make sure everything. Let's make sure that everything is going to as many potential consumers as we can manage. There's a bunch of new operating systems. Hellshock, we're working on Wave 15. Let's make sure that's going to a bunch of new operating systems as well. And Longsword 14, let's make sure you are going to those operating systems as well. Now, what I will do, just because it is making so much money, is I'm going to focus on Hellshock. I guess I'm just going to do them in the order that they're in the list here. So we'll make those all way, way lower priorities. We'll focus on the Hellshock port, and then we'll do King Doom, Vector Canvas, Wave, and Longsword, and that should all be fine. But I want to start working on King Doom Infinite. I think it's about time that we start looking at this, because it really is. It's going to be, you know, an infinite. Actually, do I want to get artsy with this? Because you had Halo 4, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo Infinite, right? The numbers, the numbering convention kind of went out the window. The naming convention went out the window. We could, instead of doing King Doom Infinite, we could call it Infinite King Doom. Because it's, you know, Infinite Kingdom, right? It sounds like it's got a grander scale than any King Doom game before it. It is the Infinite Kingdom, whatever. I think that's what we do. I think we drop the all caps, and I think we say it's gonna sound like a spin-off, but I think that's okay. It's the last one in the franchise. We're dropping the naming convention. Oh, yeah, you know what? This actually plays in really nicely. You know what I've realized I'm doing? I'm basically role-playing this company in a really, really dumb, interesting way. I think Infinite King Doom is like the new CEOs come in. Actually, I'm not even going to say it's the CEO, because so many people have retired. Nerdrosoft just has a completely new team, really. If we look at our employees, yeah. No one has been in this company for more than 20 years, except for Renee Hunter. And Renee is going to be leaving in a year or two anyway. So Renee is the only person that was here when King Doom got started, I think. Ish. Maybe shortly thereafter. But, yeah, we get people that have been here for 18 years. So... yeah, it's a new creative team. That's how I'm kind of looking at it. If we sort by roles, we've got all these team leaders, 16 years. I mean, what are we looking at for the FPS? It's going to be the core team working on it, I suppose. And I mean, the core team leader has been here for 2 years. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's fair to say that it's a new creative team. It's a new creative look at the company. So Infinite King Doom is the way we're going to go. It's such a roundabout way of explaining why I want to do this, but that's what we're going to do. And you know, I think I'm going to go all out with this. We're going to do a new framework. It's going to be the Monarch engine, which is fitting, you know, King, Doom, etc. We're going to do a branching story for the first time ever. It's going to be nearer to 5 years, to be quite honest. But we'll do a branching story. And, oh, it's For the first time ever, it's going to be a multiplayer. It's going to be, no, it's not going to be an MMO. It is going to have multiplayer. It's not going to be an MMO. We're going to give it, oh God. We're going to do procedural generation as well. It's infinite. It's infinite. So it needs, it's going to be, yeah. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Okay. Fair enough. Oh man. I don't know about this. We'll see what happens. The 2D editor, let's see, release dates. Annoyingly, we can't use Canvas 9. I don't love that. I don't like that we can't use Canvas 9. We could potentially keep that pinned though, because if I go to Canvas 9, it should be getting updated, but I'd like to take that over and I want to push the Canvas 9 update out and then look in here and see. It is, yeah, so it's now the tech level that we want it to be. The 3D editor is going to be Vector 9, which is totally fine. Vector 10 is 2010, 2020 tech levels. That's fine. We'll use Vector 9. And the audio tool is going to be Wave 15. So we're using all of our own stuff. The operating systems in question for this guy, I mean, realistically, we probably want to put it on a lot of our own things. So I'm going to start with Saturn. And I'm going to go with Doors 2. And that's going to be the two operating systems that this will launch on. And then we'll try and port it very quickly thereafter. If we sort by active users, oh, we are missing out. I'm going to say we're going to go for these guys as well, just to make sure that we have a really good number of consumers. 2.5-ish million is good. If we go to the next here, I could send this to a subsidiary. I'm not going to do that. We're not going to project manage it either. We're going to auto balance. We're going to analyze the market. We're going to go for this. It's going to take a long time, but that's fine. And this is not going to go to the console team. This is going to go to the core team. And we're going to hope for the best on my core team making this work. So approximately 4 years development time is a very long time for this, but that's okay. And you were lead designer in Doors 2. Do I have anyone that was lead designer on anything else? You have a portfolio apparently, but you're not going to be the one I'm looking for this. Let's see. 72% to ordinary. You're decently skilled at games. Can we get anyone that's like really well skilled at games? I don't think we have all that many people that actually do games, which is really unfortunate. Stacy Knox might be the one we go for then. It might be Stacy that we go for here. Wiley Lynch, your skill. Yeah, I think Stacy's the one to go for. You did Doors 2. Doors 2 was pretty good. It does mean that Doors 3, if it is subscription based, isn't going to be going anywhere. At least it's not going to be into the design phase until we're developing Infinite Kingdom. But I think that's fine. Let's start developing it. And that's going to be very exciting. We'll bring this up to here and sort of keep an eye on it. And yeah, that's how we're doing it. We're doing the final Kingdom game is Infinite Kingdom, because that's perfectly edgy. $49.8 million. Kingdom Guardians just did 9.2. Is it now more profitable? Let's have a look. Kingdom Guardians 111 million. And if we look at our profits overall, yeah, it has just by 7 or 8 by 8 no, not even by what, $8,000, whatever it is. There's a very, very minimal amount of sales in between these two, but Kingdom Guardians absolutely has just made more money than Kingdom 6, which makes me happy. That does make me happy. It also makes me happy to see that Hellshock in its own right has really taken off. Hellshock 4, 16 million last month on Hellshock 4. That is wild. Hellshock 2 is also up there, 144 million. It makes me happy that we have a first-person shooter that is making waves like that. And I mean, if Hellshock 4 keeps going, it might very well become one of the most profitable things this company has ever released, which is also very exciting. And I'm actually kind of looking forward to that, especially given that it is an automated franchise. It still pains me that I've not done anything that successful, but we'll see how it goes. And I mean, Hellshock 5 is still 2 years out, so that's fair enough. I'm also thinking we could probably drop support for things a little sooner, because we are still supporting Hellshock 2. Which, I mean, I don't know that we need to be supporting Hellshock 2 anymore. What's the support cycle right now? So updates are there. Do we just continue to support it until there's no one playing it? Because if that's how it works, that is a little bit silly. Now, I will say, I love seeing things like this. Nerdrosoft Vector, or Vector 10, just did 10 million in the past month. Vector 9 did 40 million in its lifetime, and it still did 1.4 million last month. Vector 8, 24 million. Vector 7, 40 million. These guys are offering me 35 million for the IP. I'm insulted. I am insulted by that offer. That is absolutely not worth my time. And it's, yeah, it's nowhere near enough. It's absolutely nowhere near enough for that IP. They can, that's wishful thinking on their part. 56.5 million in that last month. Kingdom Guardians just did 10.4 million. Let's have a look at my recent releases. 20 million on Hellshock 4. I don't know what's going on with those. I have no idea what's going on with those, but the fact that it's still selling as much as it is ridiculous. I want to look at the details here. Yeah, it's just blowing up. It's just going wild is what it's doing. It's also available everywhere, to be fair. There's how many potential consumers? 5 million. So we're getting there. We're getting there. We've sold it to 3 of the 5 million that we could potentially sell it to. Oh, that's painful. I've got 81.9 million due in taxes at the moment. My income over the last year has apparently been $716 million, which is wild. That's definitely, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money. Good Lord. that's too much money. Oh, don't know how I feel about that. I've got 81.9 due, and that's so much. I would, good Lord. I might just have to start putting all my money into gold. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I might just have to start putting it into gold, really, and just go from there. That's so much. Oh, King Doom fell off a little bit though, down to 4 million there. That's, I mean, I say fell off. It had 135 million, 181. Is that now the most profitable thing? It's getting there. Another month of sales on Hellshock 4, and it's going to be the most profitable thing this company's ever made. Kingdom Guardians is now comfortably higher than its predecessor, or any of its predecessors. So again, a wildly successful period of months for Nerdrosoft. I'm kind of blown away by it. We've also just finished the print job for Hellshock 5, which is going out this June. We have Longsword 15 going out next month. We have Wave 16 in March of this year. And we might see Canvas 10 released towards the end of the year as well. Then if we look at Astrophone, they're designing it. It's going to go into alpha next, or this July, aiming for release in September 29. I'd imagine it'll be sooner than that. I would hope it'll be sooner than that. And then Vector 11 is aiming for release in August 2030. Oh, I hate that that's not that far away, both in game and in real life. I mean, it's still, still 5 or 6 years, 5.5, 6 years away in real life, depending on when you're watching this. But oh, I don't like that. I do not like that. Anyway, Longsword 15 has gone out. Let's start printing 150,000 copies of you, just to make sure that you are in fact going to be in stock. Canvas 10, we want to set a maximum 125,000 on that, just because I can. We will also make sure that Longsword 15 is getting ported to everything that it should be ported to. And we have a lot of active users on Bot X2. Good Lord. Let's go down to about here. We'll go to Opti 3 as well. We'll make an exception for it just because. And also, I want to point something out to you that I think is very, very important. If I sort by profits overall, Hellshock 4 has now earned $193 million in its lifetime. It is now the most profitable thing this company has ever done. Hellshock 2 is here. Kingdom Guardians is here. Kingdom Guardians is on track to take over Canvas 8. It might take over Hellshock 2. We might see Kingdom Guardians enter the top 5 most profitable pieces of software this company has ever put out, which I think is great considering I had absolutely no faith in it. Now, can I print? Am I able to print assembly line number 2, Saturn 2? Can I assign it to there? I absolutely can. Let's set a maximum of 250,000 of you as well. And with that now underway, that puts us in a pretty good spot. Now, I will say the core team is going to be working on Infinite Kingdom for a while. I'm kind of okay with them doing that. It's not the end of the world. Saturn 2 is going to take its sweet time. I'm not going to set any sort of deadline on that. It'll go out when it goes out. It'll probably be 2028, which is totally fine. What do you want? Oh, interesting. So Loretta Bond, you've been with us for a while, I'm pretty sure, and you've been someone that's earned some awards. So a non-binding contract or exclusive lead. I am thinking non-binding contract. So Loretta can go to other companies, I guess, which is an interesting choice, to be honest. It's an interesting choice, Loretta. You've been with Nerdrosoft for a long time. Nerdrosoft has cultivated a nice environment for you to make a lot of really cool software and earn awards, and you repay us like this? Ooh, don't know how I feel about it. Ooh, Wave 16. Is that the first thing we've released in a while that's, yeah, it's only great? That might not be good for us. Might not be. I don't know. Let's make sure that it is on a good handful of operating systems, though. Let's make sure that we're printing 125,000 copies as per usual. And let me also make sure that these print jobs down here are lesser priorities than the Guardians, or the port jobs rather, not the print jobs. Yeah, I guess we'll find out if that ends up being any good. It's not the end of the world if it's not the end of the world if it's not, but we'll see what happens. I'm also curious to see if Hellshock 5 ends up being a runaway success as well, given the fact that the fourth one is well, 206 million. It sold 4.2 million copies, 12.8 last month. Good lord. You have been nominated for an award in 4 out of 4 categories. Best Employer, naturally, is going to me. Best Product is going to me for Longsword 15. Best Designer is not going to me, but it is Loretta Bond getting 3rd place this time around. And Most Profitable Product is surely going to be, well, Canvas 9 apparently. Now, it is June 2027. That is when Hellshock 5 is supposed to go out. It hasn't gone out just yet. There we go. They had me really, really worried. What are they aiming for the next one? 2030? It'll most likely be late 2029. Let's... Is it good? It's only great. Oh, no. Oh, no. I don't love that. I don't love that it's only great. That's got me kind of worried. There's quite a few operating systems that I can go on to, so we should be okay, but that does have me a little bit worried. That absolutely does have me a little bit concerned. I don't know why we've suddenly kind of dropped off. In saying that, we have had so many people retire in the last little while. If we look at this, I mean, I can make this a little bit bigger. There have been so many people going. We've had people in the core team for 17 years, 18 years. The FPS games team, 17 years. We've had so many people going. So I think it stands to reason that maybe team compatibility is getting shaken around a little bit. It's a rough time, I think, for Nerdrosoft. I think it's fair to say it's a rough time for the company, but we'll see what happens. At the very least, Hellshock 5, 8.7, Hellshock 4, 12.4. So it has made money, immediately broke even. So it's not like we're losing money on it. And I mean, it's only going to get, more money as we send it out to more consumers on more platforms. So it's not the ideal outcome for Hellshock 5. It wasn't quite as good as we would have liked it to be, but it's also not the end of the world. We're also looking to have Saturn 2 ready to go. I think it will be a 2028 release. So, I mean, it's mid 2027 right now. Let's have a look at the calendar. We are not releasing it this year. Do we have consoles going out next year? We have a console operating system going out in December. We have 2 going out in December. We could release in a year. We could do Saturn. We could reveal it now. It's July, right? We could have our E3 presentation. We get up on a stage and say Saturn 2, right? July 20, play it this time next year. I think that'd be cool. Or we schedule it for June. I think we could schedule, I mean, again, this is a lore thing. This is a role play thing. We schedule it for June, and then we have our E3. Is E3, was it? I mean, it's gone by now. It's 2027. But, do we, I want to say we release it in June, and then we imagine we have a presentation in July. It's like, here is the roadmap for the next 10 years of this console, however long for this console. You'd probably want to know the roadmap before getting the console, but it's a new era of Nerdrosoft. We're not quite the lovable rogues that we used to be. We're very corporate now. So, yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, Saturn 2, market. It's gonna be June, and it's gonna be 2028 is what we're going for. So there we go. We have a year to get this to be a thing. We are printing it already. We'll start marketing this thing with my my 2 marketing teams to make sure that everything gets done nice and quickly. So hit OK on that and bring it up to the top. Make that a priority, please. We'll send out a press build. We will also start to hype this thing with my my marketing teams as well, just to make sure that we don't start losing followers. And that's basically how Saturn's gonna go. The Saturn controller, probably a similar story. We probably want to market you a little bit with my my 2 various marketing teams. So we'll go ahead and just sort of put it there, and we'll also start to send out press builds. We'll send out hype as well. We'll just get everything going. Is what we're gonna do for Saturn 2 and the Saturn controller 2. And hopefully people are interested. Hopefully people are like, oh, mate, I'm excited. In a year, we're gonna have this new thing, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be good. How did we do in the first one? I don't remember. We did 35.9 million. The controller didn't make money. That's slightly worrying. Yeah, no profit on the controller. So I have to feel like maybe I feel like maybe I don't know if the controller is a good idea, but it's fine. It's fine. It's totally okay. What did we just release? What do you want? Non-binding contract. There you go, mate. You enjoy that. That's fine. You enjoy your non-binding contract. We did canvas. We did money 6.9. That's great. Totally okay with that. Let's start printing 125,000 copies as per usual, and let's start porting to all the different platforms as per usual. So we'll get that going out. We're gonna make it a less important thing for now, because Canvas 9 is kind of the big deal. I do want to move Hellshock up to be a higher priority. So once we get Canvas 9 ported over here, Hellshock 5 is going to be the next most important thing. Are we being robbed? Oh, they were apprehended. Good. All right. Well, as long as we didn't actually get robbed, I think security might actually be doing their thing now, which is what we're looking for. There's Canvas done. Let's get Hellshock moving. I think getting Hellshock 5 onto as many systems as possible really is going to be kind of important there. Oh, now this is interesting. We've just we finished a printing job for Astrophone 2, which happened to cost me $32.7 million, which is a lot of money. And I don't particularly love the fact that it cost me that much money to print it. That's not great, but I guess we'll see how it turns out. It is due to go out in March 2028. That's not too far away, which is exciting, but I think we're gonna have to wait until the next episode to see how Astrophone 2 turns out. This is actually gonna be another big year potentially for the company. We have a phone and a console going out within a couple of months of each other. We don't really have anything else scheduled for 2028, which is fair enough. Wave 17 is aiming for 2029 for its release. We have Canvas 11 aiming for 2030, February 2030, so it'll get brought forward most likely into 2029. We have Longsword 16 aiming for 2029. April might get brought into late 28, definitely possible. And then we have Vector 11 aiming for February 2030, most likely going to be a 2029. And then we also have Hellshock 6 aiming for 2030. That might get brought back to early 2030, if not late 2029. So yeah, 2028 is kind of going to be the year of the new hardware. And then I guess we just port everything to those systems is kind of how we're going to look at it. In fact, it might not be a terrible idea to go in here and see. Let me start moving all of my software onto those new systems as quickly as I can. So I'm not going to be able to put you on there. We can look at Kingdom Guardians, which probably needs an update, to be quite honest with you, but we'll look at Kingdom Guardians and we'll say port to this guy and also to my new operating systems. We'll make that a lower priority. And then we'll also do Hellshock 4, just because we want to make sure that it's getting as many, consumers as possible. So we'll go for those 3 as well and make it a lower priority as well so that we can hopefully get those done. Hellshock 5 is kind of the top priority for porting right now. It's going to take a while to get it done. And honestly, all these other porting jobs are going to take a while. So we'll bring these guys up and make them, well, they're various degrees of priority across the board. And, actually, I wonder, is it easier to port this? Like, is that going to be a really quick port job? That is actually quite quick. I wonder if it's worth going through and getting these easier ones done, because they are still technically working on all these other ones. I have to actually pause them to stop them from working on those tasks. So clearing some of these out might actually not be a terrible idea, or just pausing the tasks until I'm ready for them to work on them, which might also be a really good idea, just to make sure that they're not working at all on the things I don't want them working on. So we'll go through and just make sure that all of their efforts are on the things that I want them to be on. So we'll do Longsword, because again, it's a relatively easy job for them to do, and it is going quite quickly. We can then focus the efforts on Hellshock, which is going pretty quickly as well. And then I'll just unpause the rest of them as we go down the list, and that should be fine. But I think we are going to leave it there for today. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. Not long to go until I think we're done with this particular run of Nerdrosoft. We're at $1.6 billion. So things are going very, very well for us, which makes me very, very happy. I like the little changes to the style of the building that we have going on. I think we're in a good place. I think we, my character set up a, what do you, 90? Oh, 96 million. I'm going to say no, obviously, but I do respect that they actually offered me 96 million for that intellectual property. Anyway, I think Nerdrosoft is in a really good place. I think, my character happened to set it up for success, is how I like to think of things. And the new CEO has kind of come in and continued with that. I'm not going to deny that, what's her name? McCarthy, I think is her surname. I can't remember the first. Sandra McCarthy, I think her name is. Core Team J. Yeah, Sandra McCarthy she's doing great. By all means, she's doing absolutely fantastic. It also really bothers me that, let's see, it should be a capital C there, Carthy. That's what we're going for. Just get the name proper, get the capital C on there the way it should be. That's pretty good. I'm quite pleased with that. we can also give her socialization now so she can hold meetings, which I think will be very important. I don't think we actually have all that many people in the company that do hold meetings, but anyway, I'm waffling, I'm getting distracted, I'm getting carried away. Let's go ahead and leave it there for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always, and as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.